to be in all week.
I think there's a few of us where medication's not working, but
I've stopped taking mine.
We've noticed.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Is that your contribution for the day?
It is.
Bravo.
It was a good one, though.
I might be going at 11:45 today.
Good.
Right.
Take my sister-in-law to hospital.
Right.
right. Your pass, please.
Right.
Letter from your mum.
Okay, that'll be hard.
Yeah. Chris is going to join us for the second half of the show. He's on holiday at the moment, so.
What do you think this is? That UNICEF game of football? We can come in when you want.
Yes. So, shall we get cracking with John's news of the group?
Yeah, well, I've already updated you about Stuart. He's hoping that this new treatment will work for him.
Repeat, please.
I've updated you about Stuart, who's in I believe it's the Hallamshire Hospital. He's had a blood transfusion and started new treatment, the old treatment not working. He'll be in for the rest of the week. He's got kidney issues and he's hoping that the new treatment will help that and his overall condition. Old John, or some of you will know, Keith had an unfortunate effect on him on Friday because Keith popped into the cafe and scared us to death with his United mask. Having left me, Keith left us, but John left me, and he had a fall. Fortunately, he didn't fall on his face. He would manage to grab something, but it shook him up. That's exactly the look that scared him. Yeah. So he's been all shook up over the weekend, but he's feeling a bit better now.
Give him our regards.
I will do. I certainly will do. I was talking to Brian the Tie the other day, and we were telling a few stories, personal sports stories, last Wednesday at Sainsbury's Cafe, and Brian had got one that would have fit in nicely. Brian used to play for Whitwell School, and in the days, it would be in the 50s when Freshville was part of North Derbyshire, Whitwell played Freshville in an important game, and it was Brian's last game for the school. He was a goalkeeper, played in goal for school, and he'd always idolised Sam Bartram. He got to the last game of the season against Freshville, and Mark Panshaw Pearson was playing for Freshville.
Irish.
Yeah, Mark Panshaw Pearson. I didn't realise from Sheffield. Only player I know who's played with two.
Oh yeah, it was a Sheffield lad.
Yeah, I didn't realise up Freshville way. Anyway, I do remember him playing. He broke a leg twice. I don't know if he broke the same leg twice. That's likely. Anyway, he was proud. He was playing against Mark Pearson because it was his last game for the school. He asked if he could play up front, so they let him. And anyway, he was beating Mark Pearson 2-1. He'd scored 2 goals. And Pearson, who, as you know, played for Manchester United and Wednesday, had only got 1. And the game was teetering. It was 3-3 getting towards the end of the game. All of a sudden, the heavens opened. It was thunderstorm, lightning, striking all over the place, and they all had to dash for the bus. And that was it. This big game, but he beat Mark Pearson 2-1. And a 3-3 thriller, try saying that, a 3-3 thriller ends with lightning striking the.
Very, very frightening.
It is very, very frightening.
Mamma mia.
Thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
Hello.
Magnifico.
Oh. Anyway, I can see Paul's about to commit suicide. Just a reminder about the Sheffield World Cup team. Glyn is very happy that he's getting a lot of returns. He's getting a lot of teams sent to him. So if you've not done your team yet, can you have a look at the list again and send your team to Glyn if you've still got his contact details, or to Keith or to myself. It's coming along very well. It's got a lot of returns, many happy ones. Yeah. Then finally, just an update on, I mentioned last week I was attending a Zoom meeting, the National Sporting Memories Zoom meeting last Thursday, which went fairly predictably, really. There were 20 people at the Zoom meeting, and it was largely Southerners with a few Midlands and Northerners. And we all had to give an update of what our Sporting Memories group were doing to survive the pandemic and beyond. So it took ages to get through to me, and we're actually doing a lot more than any of the other groups are doing. And the CEO in charge of Sporting Memories was unsupportive, shall I say, a bit dismayed that we'd actually started having live meetings. And I said, "What? Why? Why is that?" She said, "Well, we've not really sanctioned it yet. We're not really sure it's safe." I said, "Well, we're as sure as you possibly can be. You can't get complacent about these things, but we're taking all precautions you possibly can." The lads who are attending are happy enough with it, and if they aren't, then they've no need to attend or they can leave. Sainsbury's have risk assessed the place. We're happy. Keith and myself had a look at the Burley Miners Welfare and Sainsbury's. We're happy it's okay. So, and it's working well. So overall, not very supportive and not really interested when I told her about Ian's magnificent website. You should patent that title, Ian. Ian's magnificent website. But three of the other members of the privated me, so to speak, and said they were really thought it was a really good idea to the website and the meetings at Sainsbury's. So they're going to pursue that. So I've been in touch with Sandra. Made me feelings known to her, and she agrees and said we should have nothing to do with them anymore because they need us more than we need them, really. We've proved that we're self-sufficient, and in these days of Zoom and with Keith's leadership, we've actually blossomed and got half a dozen more members. So we're multifaceted, I think, and I think we are all right as we are. Not in a complacent way, not in an arrogant way. I think we're doing okay as we are. I rest my case, Your Honour.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah, well done, John.
You just can't believe that they don't want people to get together, can you?
It's ridiculous. I mean, naturally, you've got to be
Who's
cautious.
it?
We're not daft.
Yeah.
Well, not all of us, anyway.
Where does the chief executive come from, John? What's her
Down
background? Who's her
I
background?
don't know what the background is. I've not researched it, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
It sounds like, due apologies to members here, but it sounds like a civil service bureaucratic approach.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do
Right.
things unless it's
Exactly right. Exactly right. I was in the civil service for 45 years, and it was just like being at a meeting, just like being back at work. It was dreadful.
Yeah.
I had to retire again.
Ron, I made the point to John because when you summarised it, John, in a text, I was annoyed for you, to be honest. You were representing Sandra, Crystal Peak Library and Sheffield Libraries. And I think that woman needed to be taken down a strip. She's missed a big trick, big opportunity. Zoom meetings that you and Keith have put together have not only bridged the gap from physical to virtual meeting, but also increased the membership. Everything's positive about it. You compliment me on the website. Well, the website came out of it, So
well, it did, but it needed your skill and expertise.
But blah blah. But the initiative, down to you guys, should have been applauded. And anybody with an ounce of sense would say, "Ooh, could we have done that?" And I'm glad to see 3 people privately approach you and say, "We're going to have a crack at it," because that's what you need to do. That woman should be bounced. Sorry. End of.
Right. Okay. There is one other piece of one item. John Garrett of United has contacted us to ask if we'd be interested in getting involved in a Sheffield United Graves initiative, and it's all to do with some of the old players, such as Billy and Ernest Needham. Some of the graves have got into a bit of disrepair Yeah, and they are putting together a group who might be able to help restore them.
Is this at
So-
Hillsborough?
No, Bramall Lane.
Stop it.
Who said that?
The graves are at
I
various
suspect it
sites
was you.
in Sheffield, and there's one at Spinkill as well. So
That's
But
not far
until-
from us, is it?
yeah, until we
No,
get some
Spinkill, no.
details, yeah, until we get some more details of what it entails. I've said yes, we're interested, but at the moment that's as far as it's gone. So I think
Sorry,
that's
that just did remind me of the very quick thing. There was a girl from Hillsborough Library at the meeting, and they'd only just started before lockdown hit them, and they'd had one meeting. She reminded me that they'd send one of their members up to Crystal Peaks to sit in with us and see how it worked. And I offered our help, very kind of me. When they get set up again, they can come up, attend the meetings, give them any advice or materials that we've got to help them set up again, post complete lockdown.
yeah.
And the woman stepped in, and it was going really well between me and this lass. So yeah, that's fair enough. We'll sort something out. Dead simple, really. But then the CEO said, I can facilitate this. I'll arrange a telephone conference between you two, me, and somebody else with it. Well, we don't need it. Thank you very much. We're sorting it out between ourselves. Don't need blooming telephone conference with you. Anyway, onwards and upwards.
Well done,
Yeah,
mate. Well done.
John, we need to try and get her, the Hillsborough lady, and maybe one or two more on the Zoom.
Yeah, good thinking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So we'll move swiftly on now to one of the highlights of the show. It's Hull's News of the Week.
It's for history now. I've been waiting that long. Now I'm going to start with a little bit different tack this week. As a lot of you will have known that last week there was sad news about the death of Jerry Young, Sheffield Wednesday stalwart from the many years ago at the age of 83. So I'm going to pay a little tribute to him before I go on to the main news. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Just go on,
Yeah.
Gerald Morton Young was born on the 1st of October 1936 in the village
1st
of
of
Harton
October, Keith.
I know,
in the
same
South
as me.
Shields. He played schools football in Jarrow. He was on the books of Newcastle United at the age of 16, but returned to junior football after finding opportunities were limited. Upon leaving school, Young played for the Hawthorne Leslie Shipyard team in Hebburn, Tyne and Wear, as an amateur. It was when playing for this team he was spotted by Sheffield Wednesday scouts and moved to Hillsborough as an apprentice before signing professional forms in 1955 at the age of 18. He was signed as a centre forward, but he found chances of breaking into the first team restricted due to the presence of players of the calibre of Redfern Froggatt and Roy Shiner. He made his first team debut on the 2nd of March 1957 in
My
a 3-1
birthday.
defeat away to Blackpool, where he played inside forward. But he didn't become a regular in the team until December 1962, when Tony Kay was sold to Everton. In November 61, Young scored a hat-trick against AS Roma in the Intercities Fairs Cup, which helped set Wednesday up for a quarter-final tie against Barcelona. He
Yeah.
also
Sorry to
scored a
interrupt
hat-trick.
there. Do any of us remember that? Were any of us there? I was. Were any of the others of you there?
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, fantastic
I was
night.
there.
I mean, Roma were the Intercities Fairs champions, and we just tore them apart. And Jerry Young
won
had
4-0.
superb. Yeah, 4-0.
But against Barcelona, you won 3-2.
Yeah,
But you lost 2-0
Yeah.
away.
yeah.
He also scored a hat-trick for Manchester
Yeah.
United in Division 1, but I can't find what year that was in. Do you know, John? Or...
No, I meant to research it. I'll find out for tomorrow. But I meant to look that up.
Now, after Kay's transfer, Young was switched to central defence by manager Vic Buckingham as a replacement. It was in defence that Jerry cemented his place as a regular in the Owls lineup. He took to his new position so well that within 18 months he was called up into the England squad, making his debut against Wales in November 1964. He was selected again for the following match against the Netherlands in December, but had to pull out after rupturing a thigh muscle, missed most of the season, and was never called up again. Now, Young's commitment was known to be exemplary, to the extent he was married on a Saturday morning, then he caught a train to Birmingham to put on the Owls shirt at St Andrews for the 3 o'clock kickoff. He once had an 80-game consecutive run in the number 6 shirt, and he formed a great central partnership with Vic Mobley from 1964 and 69. He was part of the team to reach the cup final in 66, playing in all 6 cup games that season. And he played his final game for the Owls in a 4-1 away defeat in the FA Cup 3rd round on the 2nd of January 71. In total, he played 310 games for the Owls, scoring 13 goals, and 35 cup games, scoring 7 goals, before retiring from playing at the end of the 70-71 season. He then joined the staff as a reserve team coach and later became first team coach. He even stepped in as caretaker manager when Derek Dooley was sacked at Christmas 1973. And he returned to coaching duties under the new boss, Steve Burtonshaw, in January 74. Now, Jerry left Hillsborough after 20 years loyal service in 1975 after Wednesday were relegated to Division 3 and manager Burtonshaw was sacked. He had a short spell at Barnsley as a coach before returning to Sheffield 6, running a sports and trophy shop in Middlewood Road with former teammate Johnny Quinn, which stayed in business for many years. He had a testimonial match in April 70 against the Blades in front of 12,000 fans at Hillsborough that ended 3-3 in a match that John Barnwell made his United debut. That's it for Jerry Young. Is that shop still there at all? Is a sports shop?
I don't think it is, no. I mean, we're always known as Johnny Quinn's
No,
sports shop.
I don't think.
No, I don't think it is it, Ron?
No.
No, but
think
he
so, no.
he was a tremendous player. Mr. Reliable. I know what you could say about the cup final and everything, but that's nonsense. With the career he had, he was a good bloke. I met him a couple of times, really nice bloke. Glyn Maguire has got nothing but good to say about him. Sadly, he had dementia, but he was just a terrific player. Strong, tough, reliable. And that hat-trick against AS Roma, that lived with me forever. Superb player.
Yeah.
I think
just
one of the
interestingly, sorry, when he ruptured his thigh muscle, which is really bad luck, and he never got in again, the person who took his place was Bobby Moore.
Which is why he never got in again.
You what, Ron?
He took so long to get into the first team because both him and Johnny Quinn were doing national service.
That's right, yeah.
They only used to come back every so often.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to watch Wednesday a fair bit at that time, actually. He was a very good
Did you?
player. Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Class and hard.
Yeah.
You're not well, Paul.
Yeah.
Were you going through a bad phase?
It's this lockdown. No, he was a good player.
Go on then, Lol.
Carry on with one or two little minor things now. Rugby Union. Up to 20,000 fans could be allowed into Twickenham to watch England play the Barbarians on October the 25th, say the Rugby Football Union, making it the largest crowd to attend a sporting event in the UK since lockdown in March. Clearance to admit the fans is subject to numerous approvals, including those from the public health authorities. The match was postponed in June because of the pandemic. Now, last week I mentioned that horse racing track at Southwell. Now, jump racing has been suspended until further notice now at Southwell Racecourse after 2 more horses died last Thursday. there had been 6 horse fatalities previously in a month at the Nottinghamshire track, and the decision was made jointly by the British Horse Racing Authority and the Arena Racing Company. There's something radically wrong with that track.
An all-weather track, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Now, Formula One. Now, in qualifying for his 94th pole position at the Italian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton set the fastest qualifying lap in Formula One history at 164.286 miles per hour. In the race itself, Frenchman Pierre Gasly took a stunning upset win for the Red Bull's AlphaTauri team in one of the most remarkable races in history. Lewis Hamilton, who was dominating until he was penalised for being called in for a pit stop when the pit lane was closed. 2 safety cars in quick succession mixed up the order, and Gasly took the lead after Hamilton served his 10-second penalty. After his penalty, Hamilton worked his way from the back and finished in 7th place. It was Gasly's first Grand Prix victory and only the second for the AlphaTauri team. Incredibly, AlphaTauri, which is Red Bull's junior outfit and Italy's second team, became the first team outside Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull to win a Grand Prix since 2013. Their only previous win under the Toro Rosso name also came at Monza with a young Sebastian Vettel as the driver in 2008. Renault is to change its name to Alpine for the 2021 season. The car will be known as an Alpine and will change to a new blue orientated colour with hints of the French tricolour flag. Anybody watch the Grand Prix?
I missed it. I missed it. I'd be interested.
You saw some highlights.
I'd be interested if somebody could explain, 1, why was the pit lane closed? 2, why the Mercedes team weren't aware that the pit lane was closed? 3, why the Lewis Hamilton was able to get into the pit lane if it was closed to be penalised? Just don't understand it. Don't follow the logic.
No.
With the first one, I don't know very
Hamilton said it's his mistake.
You what, Ron?
Hamilton has said it's his mistake.
There was a car.
What Formula One are
Well, Hamilton said he didn't see the signs telling him not to go in.
Yeah.
They said, "Didn't you see the
It was
arrows?"
his
And he said,
mistake.
"I didn't even see the Indians." Yeah. Jimmy Tarbuck, 1962.
Yeah.
Why?
There was a car.
Have you heard what?
There was a car partially blocking the entrance to the pit lane, which is why they closed it. On the approach to the pit lane, there was a car that had broken down.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Yeah, you were an
Have
old
you
Morris Minor.
heard what Formula One are proposing?
No.
They're proposing something, and I don't know how it works, something called reverse grid sprint. So the
That's right.
faster cars are going to be at the back
Yeah.
rather than the front, because they say it'll mix it up and we'll get some better racing.
like
I
even a
can
handicap,
see
isn't
that
it?
I can see that the faster teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull will pull out. They'll form their own if they do that, because what's the point of having the best car in the world and then having it put at the back?
Yeah.
I think that's only for the Saturday race, though, isn't it? Then
No,
will...
they're proposing it for all Formula One next season.
I saw that yesterday.
It makes it.
Yeah, but aren't they going to have the sprint race on the Saturday and the main race on a Sunday?
They've got to do something.
That's
like
not
that.
the way. It's not the way I read it, but
They've got to do something.
I know
like
they
that.
said they're doing away with the practice laps and qualifying, but I can see that the main teams will not stand for that. They'll pull out and form their own.
You're quite right, Ron,
competition.
because it makes a nonsense of the manufacturers' championship. If you're going to say, "Oh, we acknowledge you've got the best car, so you can start at the back," it's a total nonsense.
Well, it's against all sporting stuff, isn't it? Because you're penalising somebody
Yeah.
that's better than anybody else, really.
It's a
I mean,
handicap
would
Is
you
it
have
like the
Sebco
like
having
the
to do
powder
an
hole
extra?
sprint used to be?
Yeah, it's
You know,
a
the
handicap.
legendary powder hole sprint where the fastest used to start at the back and the slowest used to have a
Yeah.
10-yard
Yeah.
advantage or whatever.
John, I used to like the Le Mans where they used to race the cars.
Yeah.
If it were me, I'd
Yeah.
be knackered before I got in the car.
Well, they used
Oh,
to
they
do that
forgot the keys. Where's my keys? Where's my keys?
They used to do that for Formula One anyway, didn't they? Have to race across the track
Did.
and get in.
In the 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
I
That,
remember.
that I suspect would be dangerous because we said they'd all be setting off at once. You can imagine the collisions at the start if they had that sprint across the track now.
Social distancing.
Yeah.
Right, carry on.
I go on there, lol.
A little bit on golf from yesterday. World number one, Dustin Johnson. He claimed a 3-shot victory at the PGA Tour's season-ending Tour Championship. Holding a 5-stroke lead heading into the Monday's final round at East Lake, he carded a 268 to claim the $15 million FedEx Cup jackpot. It is the first FedEx title for Johnson, who squandered a chance to win it in the final round 4 years ago. Right, a little bit on tennis. Now, Andy Murray, he was overpowered by Felix Auger-Aliassime in the US Open second round, losing 6-2, 6-3, 6-4 in New York. Coming back from 2 sets down in his first match, he never threatened to repeat the defeat against the Canadian 15th seed. He didn't even manage 1 break point against the 20-year-old, who hit 52 winners to Murray's 9 under the roof at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. With Dan Evans losing to Frenchman Moutet, all British interest in the singles competition ended at the second round stage. Now, a bit of controversy this weekend when top seed Novak Djokovic was disqualified for hitting a female line judge accidentally in her throat with a ball as he showed his frustration after losing serve to trail 6-5 against Spain's Pablo Busta. Anybody see that?
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate, wasn't it?
Could have gone anywhere, that ball, couldn't it? Just have to.
I saw it on the television, but I've heard this morning.
Well, they shouldn't be doing it. It's petulant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Big Paul.
I heard this morning that she's that lady that got hit with the ball has received death threats.
Yes, that's right. She has.
Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Even before
woman.
that, she was bashed the ball a few times in frustration after losing a point. That's his makeup.
Who's the only other person to have been disqualified in a Grand
Tim
Slam?
Henman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody else as well.
Tim Henman just smacked the ball out of frustration,
Yeah,
and it is a ball boy, I think, or ball girl.
that's right.
There was a chap.
Jenny says it for a girl.
There was a chap that kicked a board in, smashed it, and bought a smashed board in it, hitting an official, and he got disqualified as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
right.
was at Wimbledon, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah. And was the one that hit the umpire?
Yes.
Only
Was that
a very
McEnroe?
few years ago. Yeah.
Well, McEnroe did that several times. Athletics. A 4 times Olympic champion Mo Farah, he broke the 1-hour world record on his return to the track at Friday's Diamond League meeting in Brussels. The 37-year-old Farah ran 21,330 metres, bettering the record of 21,285 metres set by Haile Gebrselassie in 2007.
Only just beat it then.
Pardon?
I said he only just beat it then.
Yeah, only just. Amazingly, it is his first world record outdoors. Farah said afterwards, "It isn't supposed to be easy to break a world record, but I can tell you that it was really hard. The record has stood for a very long time. How far do you think you could do, Paul?
Oh, a lot more than that.
Staying with that, Lol, and Paul know the answer to this. The women's 1 hour record was also broken by Safar. Does anybody know who held that women's record? Because I don't know who it is.
No, I don't know that.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Paula Radcliffe.
I'd be
Good
surprised.
bet. Good bet.
Might have been, my guess would have been Teresa Barber or somebody like that. That would have been
Yeah.
my guess.
It might have been a long time ago as well, so it
Yeah,
might.
what about the Norwegian?
Amundsen.
Oh, yeah.
Scandinavian, perhaps.
Greta Weitz, you think? Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't know.
interesting.
It's got to be somebody who's got a bit of a sprint to him as well. I would doubt that Paula Radcliffe is a holder, but I really don't know.
How far did Tom Courtney run in Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner? He ran a long way, didn't he?
He did. Up and down hills.
He was running from Coppers though, wasn't
Away from Coppers.
he? Yeah.
Right. Now, going to cricket. Now, former England and Northamptonshire all-rounder David Capel has died at home at the age of 57 after a 2-year battle with brain tumour. Capel, who won 15 Test caps and played in 23 ODIs between 1987 and 1990, was diagnosed in 2018. He was one of the most talented of a cluster of contenders earmarked to fill the boots of the great Ian Botham. Capel was the first player from his county to be picked for England in 77 years when he was first called up.
Excuse me, what's young Chris Hall dressed as today? What's that he's wearing? Blooming heck. Bit of dress standards at this Zoom meeting, you know, Mr. Hall.
It's the shirt United. It's the shirt United rejected. And good morning to you, John.
Good morning, Chris.
I thought he was in drag when he came towards us then.
It's a Middlesex shirt.
Is it?
Yeah.
Less than a minute, please.
It's a nice summer shirt.
Thank you.
The Lancashire and former England seam bowler.
Right.
30, hello. Hello.
Let me stop you there. With less than a minute to go, so you'll have to finish after the break.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we'll see you in a few minutes. See you at quarter past.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Yeah.